I'm back and I feel a lot better because I went to the bathroom. Also, during the 2 minutes I was in there, the lighting in my room, or from outside, changed dramatically, so it's gonna be different now. Where was I? Okay, I am going to talk about money, in case, because I sort of suspect that it might be very hard to hear what Sean said in that video. I haven't checked or anything, but I assume. He was talking about money and what role it plays. I wonder if I can get both my eyes to be visible. Here we are. You guys, I bet you... I like the art that's in my room, so I bet y'all will. And sometime I might decide to show it to you all and talk about it. But I already know, so you already know. You just don't know right now. Anyway, so after April 26th, I tried to forget very hard. Why I did that is sort of a moot point. I'm as cowardly as I am brave, so if I am very brave, then I am also very much a scaredy cat. And that's probably why. If there needs to be a why. So that went on for a while, and then the next time that I woke up was my friend Sean and myself and Tater all drove in my car to Estes Park, which is this beautiful little town nestled in this bowl of mountains. And we went camping illegally on national park property. We just drove up to some apartments and then took our camping gear out on a ways up on the mountain that the apartments were on. And it started raining, so we set up our tent in the rain, and it was pretty wet, but we brought lots of stuff, so we ended up making it pretty comfortable in there. And so then we ate some shrooms, and psychedelics sort of have a process as you approach that place. So, in my experience, first I feel sort of giddy, then I feel beautiful and graceful, like I'm an animal. Then I remember going outside and there was one of the most beautiful colors in the sky that I've ever seen in this life. And then I started getting sort of temperature sensitive and wanted to go and just sit in my sleeping bag, so I went back in our tent and I got all bundled up and warm, and I closed my eyes because I think that might be a part of the stages that I go through. I've noticed that through asking other people who are quite different from myself, but also the same, they feel like parts of myself, but just not aware of being parts. I realized that I like how my eyes look. I realized that many different experiences are possible on psychedelics. And it also seems to me that most of the experiences that others have are not very absolute feeling. They're interesting and beautiful in their trips. But there's there's sort of a different energy to the explanations of what it's like to do psychedelics that I get from other people. Other than Sean, because Sean is my psychonaut in chief. I don't know. He's my chosen partner for doing such things. I apparently really like having a partner, even though when I arrive at the place, I'm just gonna call it the place, it's only me there, even if Sean's body is here. It's my thoughts are his thoughts are my thoughts, and my thoughts are his thoughts. We talk to each other as if we are one being, and we touch each other as if we are one being. It's sort of hard to be sexually attracted to another person when it feels like being sexually attracted to just yourself. Like you're an asexual person or a being who is only into themselves, which I am. I mean, in the bigger sense than what I used to hold as the common definition of what asexual is. I don't know if that's the right word, but I'm intending for it to be a word defining a person who is in the world, living their life, and just loves masturbating, I guess, and that's it. Anyway, so I like having Sean with me when I do that because I love Sean. And I'm sure that whole thing I just said made a whole bunch of people wonder what my sexuality is as Isaac. And I can't give you a definitive answer. But throughout elementary school and middle school and high school, I was only concerned with girls. I love how vaginas look and feel and taste. I love how the curves of women's bodies are. And because of that, for the most of my life, I was that way. Sorry, I just got a message that I'm not going to worry about. Because I was that way for most of my life, I identified as straight for most of my life. But that is not true anymore. I mean, it is true, it's just not the whole truth. And as far as I'm concerned, the whole truth is the truth. And everything else is also true, but also not true when compared to the whole truth. So, and when I watch porn that I guess you could call is straight porn. I like porn. I'm not gonna go into that right now because I'm trying to sort of catch myself up to where I am right exactly now. And I'm still like 8 or 9 months ago. So, we went camping, and I woke up, and Sean and Tater became aspects of myself. I am also an aspect of myself, not entirely whole. But I do have a capacity for being very close to whole that I have noticed. At least that was a statement that I'm not going to stand by in the future, so do with it as you will. The future. It's very hard to accurately express this with English, because English is a dualistic descriptor. It is not supposed to be used for doing what I'm trying to do right now. And because of that, it's likely that I will fail, and I know that I will fail, but it feels good for me to just spit it out, because I am tired of feeling so alone, I guess. And that statement is not meant to be an insult to all of those who love me and are my companions or lovers or friends, animals. It is just simply an aspect of myself, an aspect of oneness, in that when oneness is the state of being, there is not two-ness. And because oneness feels the most real to me, I am attracted to oneness. And therefore I self-identify most truthfully as being one and as being alone. And I don't really have an incredibly negative reaction to that anymore. But in any case, I fell asleep again in the tent, and when we woke up, we got in trouble with some rangers for camping illegally, and we got some tickets for like $150 or $60 each, which seems, I guess, reasonable for breaking that law. I mean, defining what is or isn't reasonable is also sort of futile. Most things that exist have a reason for existing, so I guess everything is reasonable. I feel good doing this. Trying to qualify it again. So the next time I woke up after that, we drove home and I fell asleep again. What I describe as falling asleep is re-entering the world of time, becoming worried about my responsibilities, becoming parts of myself rather than the whole self. So I did that again. I became the part of myself that is Isaac, and identifies only as being Isaac. And the next time that I woke up from that was when Sean, who had at that point moved to Colorado Springs, where he currently resides, he came up to Fort Collins to visit, and we decided to go on a hike. So we drove up what I want to say was the Poudre Canyon, and we found this beautiful hill. Sort of burpy. We found this beautiful hill, and we hiked up to the top of it, and at the top of it we meditated and we ate some brown rice, and we sort of just enjoyed the beauty of it and the experience as a whole. It was really nice. I took out this book that I use as a comfort object. It's over here. It's called Be Here Now. I don't even know if you can read that, but the front page is missing, so that's how I got it. It was given to me in another very serendipitous moment, which was not accidental, because the concept of accidents is also true, but is also not true in consideration or comparison to the truth that I am trying to live by. So I don't believe accidents. I notice that things appear to be accidental, but I do not believe that they are. And I think I'm right. I'm a sarcastic butthead, by the way. And I'm also not. So, after we went on that hike, I had acquired some acid, some LSD, 6 tabs of it. When you get to be a very liberated spiritual person, people who do psychedelics and stuff just sort of gravitate into your life. So that's how I did that. So I had 6 tabs of acid, and at that point I sort of expected that whenever in the future that I were to grammar, I sort of expected that any event during which I was using psychedelics again, this is my mother again. I'm actually not going to answer it because I'm trying to keep this train of thought. She's gonna have to forgive me for that, which I know she will, because she's lovely. I sort of realized that any use of psychedelics that I were to partake in the future would be the same deal. I knew this because after April 26th, nothing could possibly have felt as real as that to me. And what qualifies something as feeling real is not something I can necessarily define. But throughout my life, scientific principles, religious principles, things that were fact, they had a tiny grain of doubt in them, always. And after April 26th, that doubt was just sort of almost a novelty compared to that experience. And since then, when I've done psychedelics, I've become very deeply trusting of that reality. I'm choosing not to interact with some people right now because I'm interacting just with myself right now, and were I to pursue answering either of the 2 people who just tried to get my attention, I feel that I would lose focus on being alone with just myself now. So that day, we set up a tent, a very large tent, in my backyard, and filled it with candles and incense, and a bed, and turned it into what I would denote as a temple. To me, a temple is a place that is specifically designated for spiritual beings to explore themselves without being hindered by fear. Or to support not being hindered by fear. It's sort of just a place that's there to support one. So we made a temple, and we each took 3 tabs of acid, and we put in some earplugs and laid down on the bed, and I woke up again. I can't say what Sean's experience was, but I'm sure that he woke up as well. From my experience, it appears to me that Sean's flavor of waking up is slightly different from my own, but very close and very sweet and beautiful. I'm just sort of taking a second to just appreciate how much I love Sean. So, I woke up again, and I realized that Sean was me, and the tent was my invention, sort of. It's just sort of a product of the universe, which is me. Because Isaac certainly didn't invent tense, but I did, because how else would tense be here? Anyway, I went into my house after being thoroughly awake for an hour or so, and I took a shower, and in that shower, I was completely alone in my body. There's a difference between when I say that I am constantly and always alone, in that there are no other universes in this universe, or there is no other me here. No one else is listening to this or watching this but me. I'm at 21 minutes, so I'm going to keep going until 25. So, I went into the shower, and at a certain point I just realized, sort of just an aspect of what that meant. I think it was that all of the hurt and fear and self-esteem problems that I've had in my life, I think the realization was that I'd caused them for myself, believing that that was the way, the right way, or the proper way to feel those times. And I was grieving for my young and innocent self, because if I'm alone and the only being here, then it seems very inconsiderate of myself, very not loving to feel so badly, to hurt myself, to curse at myself, to wish for myself not to be me. It seemed very sad. That's a good description. And that sadness caused me to cry. My reaction to that realization was sadness, and that sadness caused me to cry. And I cannot remember crying quite so hard as that, except for this last time that I woke up, which I'm getting to. I know I've already been talking for more than an hour, but I'm getting there. I'm coming to right now. And I had that experience, and after I cried, I felt so healed, so much more in integrity, maybe, or pure, maybe. Like I was okay. Sort of a recurring theme of these awakenings that I've had is the need to be okay. There has to be a reason to be okay. When it was in April 26th, I remember Sean asking me, "Are you okay?" And of course I have to be okay. What would not being okay be like? Well, in my opinion, right now, not being okay would be destroying myself out of just not being able to handle it, or finding out that I'm some sort of fundamentally flawed creature or being that because of that proven flaw, it would be logically justifiable to erase that being. And such a logically justifiable cause for not existing does not exist. Because any wrong that I've ever done, I've done to myself, and all the good that I've ever received, every kiss, every hug, every comforting word, every family I've ever been, every loving family, every warm hearth or beautiful girl that I've ever been, was also me being me. And so there can be no reason that I am not okay. And with that, I think I'm going to end this video, as it's gone on for longer than any of the other two that I've made. But I am going to continue talking in a moment.